Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Profitable Private Practice Podcast. Today, with me, I have the pleasure of having Dr. Dana Gibbs. Hi, Dr. Dana.
Hi, it's so good to be here.
I'm so glad you're on here. So, let's go ahead and get started. Could you please give us a 60-second introduction of yourself, just so people can get to know you?
Sure. My name is Dana Gibbs Clark. I go by Gibbs because that was my doctor name for 30 years. And so I kind of can't give it up. I live in North Texas. I have a private practice in South Lake, Texas, that specializes in thyroid and hormone care for people who don't respond to the guidelines based care.
Okay. All right, so then let's dive right in. So, a common thing that I've heard some people say is that private practice is dead. I personally, along with my mother, believe that it's not. But what is your take on that?
Oh boy, I think private practice is what's going to save us. I really honestly do. The corporate practice and big hospital medicine has really just taken all the personality and all the doctoring out of doctoring, and it's
Mm,
just like it's you know what is done in big healthcare can be done by AI, but what is done face to face with a person that you have a relationship with, you cannot replace that. And I really do feel like what's going on in healthcare is trying to replace the doctor patient relationship. And I really just don't think there is any replacement for it other than private practice.
okay, all right. And so now I have no doubt that, private practice can be challenging at times. But in the midst of that, what are some of the things or what are some of the doors that, being a private practice owner has opened up for you?
Oh, wow. So my practice is a little bit unique as I am fairly location independent. I do have an office where I can go, and um, when I am not there, I'm not responsible for it. It's a group office with a receptionist and a lot of different places. So the expense of being owning or building out and being responsible for an office, I don't actually have unless I'm actually using it, which is wonderful. Um, but truthfully, it's time freedom. It's my mom is sick. I need to take her to the doctor. I don't have to have clinic tomorrow. I can just
Mm,
take off and go and take my mom to the doctor. Whereas when I was in a group practice, I said, I'd like to go from working 5 days a week to working 4 days a week. And they were like, oh, you can't do that, and it was this big thing. And, you know, I, I think I'm now, this is kind of silly, but I think I'm kind of now ruined for being anybody else's employee. Now that I'm my own boss, I really I don't know that I could ever go back to doing that.
mm, okay. So, I'm just gonna, throw this out there. But what are some of the things that, you use your time freedom for, like other than, taking care of your mother?
Oh my goodness. Well, okay, so I have a teenager and I
Ooh.
have, my mom who is elderly and needs a lot of help. Um, we have a sailboat that we like to go out on. And, not just for Saturday afternoon, we like to go out for several days at a time. And the cool thing about how I have my practice set up is that I can go on my Starlink and sit in the cockpit of the boat and see patients from there. And it's just like, wow,
Mm,
who would have ever thought that I could do that? That's
yeah.
just, it's so cool. So I have a couple of other hobbies. My daughter is a horseman. She likes to ride horses, and I was able to take off last weekend and we went to the IEA National Championships, and
Oh,
she got a blue ribbon,
wow.
and I was so excited about that. It was just
That's
really, really cool.
awesome.
And it's just like, okay, we need an extra 2 days out of the office. Okay, let's do it. Let's go.
All right. Okay, that's amazing. And now, so we talked about, some of the doors that have been opened. And, we
Mhm.
have no doubt that private practice can be challenging. So, what were some of the challenges that you had to overcome in the midst of having your private practice? Did you ever feel like quitting? And if you did, what was that thing that kept you going?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I have felt like quitting a few times, maybe more than a few times, because, you know, we as doctors were, and I think it's even worse now as the decades have gone on, because I mean, I finished medical school 30 years ago.
Mm,
We have not been taught business. And I think it's almost purposeful. It's like if you don't teach doctors business, then they have to be employees. So if they're employees, then they can't talk back and they don't know how to negotiate contracts and they don't know how to hire people and they don't know how to, um, they don't know how to do accounting and they don't know how to, follow metrics and know where their practice is financially. So all of these lessons have been somewhat painful. But the biggest lesson that I've had to learn is visibility.
mm,
And I know we're going to talk about that probably more, but visibility was so hard for me. I mean, I have always called myself a shy person. I have always been very conflict avoidant. I've always been very reticent to stand up in front of a crowd of people and say XYZ. Um, and I'll tell you, the first time I went and opened up my computer and started recording myself talking to people, I was terrified. I mean, it took a long time for me not to be really, super have to really super psych myself up
mm,
to get on and talk like we're talking, right? Even, you asking me questions and me answering, even that is still a pretty big challenge for me.
mhm,
And when it's me just like, oh, let me turn on an Instagram live and do a Q&A. Oh my gosh, I couldn't have done that 5 years ago. Not for a second could I have done that 5 years ago. And so that has been a huge challenge and a huge lesson for me. And I guess the lesson is that you're not ever going to be ready. You have to
mm,
start and you have to just do it and you have to accept that it's probably going to suck the first couple of times you do it and that it gradually gets better. I mean, um, yeah, so that's been a huge, huge challenge for me. But all of the aspects of business, the hiring, the negotiating, I got to decide what medical records to use. I got
mm.
you have when you are the practice owner, you have to make every
Every
decision.
decision. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, on that visibility note, we can just go ahead with that. Something that I've heard my mom say, and she said it to me multiple times, is that, people won't know that you're there until you let them know that you're there. So, people will be looking for
Yeah.
you, but because you're not visible at all, they can't find you, even though they're looking for someone who is just like you. So, how
Yeah.
did you? I know you said that even now, doing things like recording a podcast episode or going on live can still be
Mhm.
challenging, but how do you in essence like just overcome it in general, like you just get over that?
Oh, so I started very at the very first by being invited by other doctor friends to come on their like Facebook lives. That's how I started, with other folks that I knew who had a Facebook live and I'm like, I have a message. Can I come on your whatever it is and talk about what I know and how I
Mm,
can help people? And for me, it's much easier to come on a venue like this and answer questions that you ask me than it is for me to think of what I'm going to say just off the cuff.
mm-hmm.
Um, if I'm going to open up a link and just start talking about a topic, I have to have written out
Everything.
everything I'm
From
gonna
beginning to
say
end.
from literally from end to end. I have to have it planned out because I still get into that, fight, flight, or freeze. I'm the freeze person.
Mm,
And if I freeze, I always know I can always just take a breath, look at the screen. Where was I? Okay, keep going. Say this next thing. Say this next thing. You know, if I don't have a plan, I will get on there and freeze. And it's really been um it's really been interesting trying to learn to ad lib, and I really feel like I still don't do it well.
Mm. Yeah, I've had I think it was actually last year, 2 days before the Entre MD live event, she was like, you're gonna do my intro. And I stood there and I panicked and I was like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna
Hey,
do?
I was there and you did great. So.
Thank you. It was literally the morning of that I came up with everything. And even
Uh-huh.
when I had got on stage, I was like, am I sure I want to say this? What if I skip over this? Like it was right until I went out to speak that. But
It's
yeah.
like, what should I say? Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So now being visible, and you've been on, Facebook Lives and the YouTube and all of that stuff. What has being visible made possible for you?
Oh, wow. I have been approached by people, not just in the US now, but all over the world for help doing what I do, because what I do is a little bit unique.
Mm-hmm.
And there are not a lot of people who are also, you know, legitimate physician experts in one thing who also know what I know. And so I have now got clients from overseas, which I just
Wow.
think is insane. And where did they find me? They found me on other people's podcasts. They found me on podcast episodes that I did myself that for some reason took off. Or I, this is a crazy one. I did a book review on Amazon
Oh wow.
and I put in there, I don't remember how I did it. I put some contact information. Maybe I put the name of my podcast in there. But somebody found me because I did a book review on
On
Amazon
Amazon. Wow.
and put my real name on there. And it's just like, how is that possible? So most of it is, a lot of it is podcasts, but it has started being more organic Google searches, which I'm
Mm.
happy about. Um, and I was super surprised actually how long it took before I was starting to be visible on Google. You think, oh, you just put a website out and people will
Yeah.
find you. No, no, no. I mean, when I Google my own name, I get like 27 different, it's like I fill up 2 pages when I Google my own name. You have to be out there in as many different formats as you can come up with in order to start being recognized by the algorithms, I guess. I mean,
Mm.
it's not really fair that AI is taking over how searches are done, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's slow.
It's
That's
slow.
that's the other thing.
Yes.
It's just like, you do one podcast and you're like, why aren't people listening to it? This is like, no, I know, I now that I have a year worth of episodes, I'm starting to see some traction,
Mm.
um but even now, not a lot of people click on my on my YouTube page.
Mm.
Not a lot
Yeah.
of people. Um, and I think every day is, how can I make this better? How can I make this better?
Yeah. I think
So,
especially with that it's slow thing, like you have to learn that patience aspect of it. That it's not gonna happen immediately. Like you post one thing. I had this thing that I posted and it wasn't until I think last week actually that it
mhm,
blew up. But I posted it like 3 months ago and I was like, oh,
it finally
okay.
blew up
Finally blew
after
up.
3
Yeah.
months. Yeah. What's funny is I see a lot of traffic, believe it or not, on TikTok, which I never
Mm-hmm.
thought. I'm like, TikTok's for dancing and silly stuff. It's like, how am I, but I repost a lot of my stuff on TikTok. I take my podcast and break little chunks out of it and put it up on
And put it
TikTok.
up there.
And I get a lot of people finding me from TikTok, which I'm just shocked about
Yeah. That's
that.
amazing though. Okay. And now, so Dr. Una says that one of the biggest rewards, that you get while having, a business or creating one is who you become in the process. So in what ways does that apply to you? Like what changes, have you made, like personally with that?
Oh boy. I am a lot less willing to tolerate nonsense
Mm.
from other people. I'm a lot less afraid of what other people are going to say about me on, online or wherever. Um, like here's just an example I'll give you. So I put some clip out on TikTok, and somebody who said they were an endocrinology nurse practitioner was on there questioning my expertise. And I'm like, I'm a surgeon who took out thyroid glands for years.
Ooh.
Hello. If I'm not qualified to write somebody a thyroid prescription, then who the heck is?
Yeah.
Um, so really owning the fact that I have legitimate expertise that is
Mm-hmm.
worth talking about and worth being proud of, that is a total change for me.
That's amazing.
And that's really, yeah, totally.
And then on that, let's talk a little bit about the, dream life, dream business aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
In what ways has that, have you accomplished that? You're having your dream life, the time freedom. I know you mentioned that, and then also your
Mm-hmm.
dream business.
Yeah. So my dream business has a couple of components that have not materialized yet, but yeah, I'll just tell you the framework. So it starts with a private practice, and it's mostly virtual, but I have, like I said, I have an in-person office where I can see local folks when they need to see me, which is great. I am currently in clinic 2.5 days a week. And the rest of the time, I'm working on other projects, and I'm working on a lot of patient education. I mean, my podcast, yes, it's to promote my practice, but a lot of it, I mean, there are probably 15 million people who have Hashimoto's disease in the United States or more. I can't see 15 million people. I can't even see 1,500 people, but I can teach them stuff.
Mm.
And that to me is really, it feels like a privilege to be able to push for better care for thyroid patients, because there is a lot of dogma and dismissal in thyroid care. It's a woman's specialty for the most part, but and I see a lot of parallels with the menopause world, as menopause is having its moment, which I'm really excited about. I'm like, when is thyroid going to have its moment? I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
But I also am getting more into teaching other doctors about what I do and how to do what I do. I mean, when I'm 80, I'm going to need somebody to take care of me.
Yeah.
I would love it if I can train as many people as possible to know what I know, and to know that what they learned in the guidelines is not all there is to know about my topic, so that more people can get the treatment that they deserve.
Mm.
And so I feel like that's a big dream that I have, is kind of to create a network of other docs who know what I know and do what I do. So that if somebody calls me from Vermont, for example, and I don't have a license in Vermont, but if I can say, hey, Dr. So-and-so's in Vermont, call them.
Mm.
That's kind of the goal, is I want 50
yeah.
states worth of a referral network that I can say, this person will do you right.
Mm.
This is who you should talk to.
Wow.
And in order to be confident in that, I have to teach them.
Yeah.
So
That's good. That's amazing.
So excited about that.
I'm excited for you. 50 state referral network. That's awesome. Okay. And now let's talk a little bit, about the business school. How
yeah.
That's one of my favorite topics, because
of course
I feel
it is.
like I'll ask someone and I'm like, so what is your favorite thing about the business school? And typically I get the same answer. So let's see what answer you'll give me. So let's see, how long have you been in the business school? What's your favorite thing about it?
All right. Well, I am not quite an OG in the business school. I started in, I think, March of 21 or February of 21.
That's long enough.
It's pretty long.
Yeah.
It's pretty long. And I will say that, being where I am in my career at the speed that I can absorb new information, which is not as fast as it was when I was a med student, there are times when what is taught in the business school is very overwhelming to me. But the fact that, you can just pick one thing and work on one thing, and the topic is going to come around again. You don't have to have FOMO and worry that, oh, well, if we, have a workshop on how to hire a virtual assistant and I'm not in a place where I'm ready to hire a virtual assistant, I don't have to feel like, oh, I have to do it right now. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's going to come back around. Yeah. That's one very, very cool thing, because I'm not going to say that there's a limited amount of topics, because gosh, the amount of knowledge that we get is expanding
very fast,
kind of all the time and every day. And like AI is the new thing. And it's like, okay, let's have sessions on AI and what you can do with it. That's great. But truthfully, it's the network. It's the people. You knew I was going to say that. You knew I was going to say that. I mean, because I'm in for so long already, I'm like, you couldn't kick me out if you tried. Yeah. You couldn't kick me out if you tried. And I may not come to every conference that y'all have. I may not make every single meeting. I may not read every single book of the month. It's overwhelming to me. The amount of information that comes at me, it's overwhelming. I have to pick and choose and go, okay, this is what I need right now. Mm-hmm. And if it's not something you're teaching this week, I can go back in the archives and find it, what I need. But yeah, it's the people.
The people. I love the community. It's the people. Yeah. Every time I ask the question, that's always the answer, because they're like, okay, so it's not like a community of doctors that are trying to fight each other so that like someone gets to the top. It's like everybody's helping each other so that everybody goes to the top, rather than just one person. And
no, like you are so right about that. And that's, it's funny because, every medical conference I had ever been to before starting in EntreMD Business School, it was a competition. It was a one-upsmanship. It's like, how can I beat you? How can I get all the patients for myself? I mean, it's just like, dude, there's enough patients to go around. There is enough. There are people crying for doctors to help them. That's not necessary. I mean, even if it's like, oh, well, there's another cash-based thyroid specialist that's going to sit up next door to me. I don't care. There's enough patients. But in that community, we are there to help and support each other. Mm-hmm. And it's never at your own expense. It's like you get back what you give. You get back more than what you give. And the more you give, the more you get back. It's really amazing. Yeah, it's not a competition. And every now and then my brain forgets that. And it's like, oh my gosh, those people are ahead of me. Just cut it out. Just calm down. Just cut it out. That you go at your own pace. That's amazing. But at the same time, I've kind of got FOMO. I'm like, oh, I need to get everything out of it.
Yeah. Everything is still there though. So
it is.
You're not missing much. Okay. And now if you could say something I like to ask these type of questions when we get, closer to the end, but if you could say something to the person whose growth has kind of stalled, even though, they feel, or they may say that, okay, I'm doing everything that I can possibly do, but, their growth is still, being stalled. What would you say to someone who is in that type of place?
Oh boy. It kind of depends on the situation, but there is always more that you can do. And I'm not talking about staying up later, working harder. I'm talking about, let's find you an assistant to help you edit podcasts so that you don't have to do that. Let's find you somebody, let's find you an accountant so you don't have to keep track of your own books, so you can know what's going in and coming out, but you don't have to sit there and pick the keys and do the thing. Let's help each other. Let me help you improve your visibility. Let me help you protect yourself legally by telling you what I know, what I've already, what things I've already done. There's always somebody ahead of you that knows how to help you move more into what you're doing. And that's another thing that's great about the community, because when we get together, it's like, but I'll never forget this. It's like I was at, I think it was the first vision retreat, the very first live vision retreat that was done in like 21. And somebody got up and talked, and they were like, I just can't figure out how to blah, blah, blah. I don't remember what the topic was. I don't remember what the person was. But I will tell you, 6 or 7 people stood up and they passed the mic around. And by the end of 15 minutes, they had solved that person's problem.
Yeah.
It's like, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. And they were all fantastic ideas. And it's like, sometimes you just get in your own head and you can't figure out how to get out of your own way. And if you bring it to the group, it's just like, boom, problem solved.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love the EBS community too. So that's awesome. Even though I'm not in private practice, I feel like there's always something you can learn, even if you're not in it. So for me, who's still inside of school, I'm always learning from everybody who's there.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, if there's a private practice owner who is listening, who they've been listening to the whole episode, if there is one thing that you want them to take from this episode, what would it be?
Wow. I'm trying to figure out how to say what I want to say. It's kind of to own your expertise and own what you know and own your intellectual property and, get visible somehow. I don't care what it is. If you want to start on Facebook, start on Facebook. If you want to start a blog, start a blog. Get it out there. Make sure that you own it. Make sure that it's not your employer who owns it. It's the personal brand, I guess. That's what Dr. Una calls it. It's own your personal brand and start working on making it visible.
Okay, that's good. I'm going to take that quote and I'm going to put it on my Instagram. And if it blows up, then I'll tag you in it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your wins, top 3, both tangible and intangible wins.
Okay. Wow, I need to pull them up again because I don't remember what I told you before. So my top 3 intangible wins. Let me think. I'm going to start with those because really, I think number 1 is owning my expertise. Really feeling confident that, hey, I have something special to give and it is really worth something and I am an expert. And it took me a long time to get there, to really feel like, okay, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. I am an expert. So that's one. The second one is really this idea that I'm, and I'm not going to say I'm not afraid to get up on video or in front of a live audience anymore. I'm still nervous. I still sweat. I mean, I don't have to take a beta blocker to get up there, but I'm still sweating when I get up in front of people to talk in front of people. And I still have to have a script, like I was saying.
Yeah.
But the mere fact that I am not terrified, I mean, I literally would get up in front of people and get tunnel vision and totally lose what I was going to say and lose the ability to even see the people in front of me. So that's a huge one. And just the third one is just this idea that I can have whatever I want.
Yep.
I can make this practice and this business whatever I want to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are big
Yeah.
ideas. It's just like, what do you mean I can have anything I want? You can have anything you want. You know? You can. So those are the intangibles. Tangible wins is, boy, in 2024, in the fall of 2024, when my mom got really sick and had 2 kinds of cancer at once and started losing her memory and had to be moved out of her house and go through all these treatments and surgery and radiation and in and out of the hospital and move into an assisted living, and I sold her house and all this stuff. I mean, I spent a ton of time doing all that stuff. And just the mere fact that I was able to without destroying my career. I mean, that would not have happened in the group practice where I was before. I would have come away $500,000 in debt in the practice where I was before by being absent, because the clock is ticking and the meter is ticking and the expenses are building, and it's a very, very expensive thing to run certain kinds of practices. And the practice I was in was very bloated with excess expense. And so, yeah, just the mere fact that I was able to walk away and say, okay, I'm not taking any new patients right now. I'm going to just take care of whoever's already here, and I'm going to take care of my mom. That was gold, just absolutely gold. The second tangible win is this medical course that my mentor and I have built, which is a 12-week, basically 25-hour hormone series for primary care and whatever kind of doctor wants to learn hormones. And I have it on an online platform and in an archive, and we teach it live, sometimes twice a year, sometimes only once a year. And, eventually once he completely retires, I'll totally take it over. But I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of it. I mean, it doesn't make me a ton of money. He donates his time, and I don't feel comfortable charging a lot of money for something that when he's donating his time. But I'm so excited about the little community that has started to build of people who are learning this stuff. And, we get together once a week, even when the course is not running, and talk about cases and go over things and learn from each other. And it's really phenomenal. So I really, really like that. And then the third thing is that I'm finally starting to make some money, which is great. The year of no new patients really damped things down, and I did run it at a loss for a year, but it wasn't a huge loss, but I was running it at a loss for a year. And it just, when you start back up again, it takes some time to build. And so, I got back into it in, the summer, and we went summer, and then I had to change a bunch of things about my forward facing website and things like that. And things really slowed down for a while after I did that. And then in December, it started picking up, and it has accelerated through the year so far this year. And it's like I doubled January's income in February, and then I doubled it again, and then I doubled it again. And so it's just like, oh, hey, here we go. It's finally making some money. And so I can pay myself back for the investment that I've made. And it's really quite exciting. And I'm still not seeing patients but 2.5 days a week. So
wow,
it's great.
that's amazing. All right. Okay, so my last question for you is where can people find you? So for people who want to connect or learn more about, what it is that you do, where can they find you?
Sure. So my website is danagibbsmd.com. I am also on Facebook and Instagram as Dana Gibbs MD. And I have a YouTube channel, same name. And then I have a podcast, and I'm really excited about my podcast. It's called Beyond the Thyroid. And I do talk a lot about Hashimoto's disease and thyroid conditions that are kind of brushed aside. It's like, oh, your TSH is fine, you're good enough. Um, and I don't think it is fine if somebody still doesn't feel well.
Mm,
And so that's where I focus. And I have in the past year, and yeah, I guess it was in the past year, I've added menopause care to that because thyroid and menopause hormones affect one another. So when you change one, you have to change the other one.
mm,
And so I talked some about that on the podcast, but I really try to go into a lot more than just, okay, here's some labs and here's some medicine. It's like, okay, what should you eat if you have thyroid problems? What should you do about your iron levels? What should you do about, all these other different things? What happens if you get diagnosed with cancer? Blah, blah, blah. So, so pretty proud about the podcast, which is called Beyond the Thyroid.
that's amazing. All right. So there's the information. If you are listening and you want to get to know more about Dr. Dana Gibbs, I would recommend the podcast. I think the moment we're done recording, I will go and I will follow that as well.
I
So I just want
appreciate
to
that.
say, yes, of course. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who is listening. Now, I like to end off these episodes by saying to not allow, this to be your best kept secret. So if there's something that you heard that, it helped you and you believe that it can help, a private practice doctor in your life, then I would love for you to share this episode with them because this will be life changing, life transforming. And we love hearing doctor stories. So, Dr. Gibbs, thank you so much for coming on the
Thank you for
podcast.
having me.
I'm so glad you were able to do this. I can't wait for this to go out. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me. This has been great fun.
No problem. All right. Bye, everybody. See you next time.